Are you ready for an adventure where your players have to go deep into the forest to find an ancient keep, an ancient castle where two children are being held hostage by a big black dragon? Well, you better stay tuned because this adventure is one of those adventures I don't hear a lot of people talk about, but I think it is amazingly well written, it is smartly written, and it is just full of atmosphere, and it is written by two of my favorite Dungeon Masters Guild writers. Hi there, fellow Dungeons & Dragons players and of course Dungeon Masters. My name is Mr. Tarask. Still, I hope your favorite third-party Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition reviewer. Welcome to another Off the Cuff video where I talk about an adventure or a PDF or whatever. I just scroll through it and I just talk about why I think it's really worth it, why I think it is amazing, and why I think you should pick it up. Before we do that, very quickly, I'm still giving away copies of Remarkable Inns and Remarkable Shops by the ever amazing Loresmith, a Dutch 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition creator. I got like a pile of them to give away, and you just need to check out the giveaway if you want to win them. So if you want to win it, click the video, whatever, do whatever you need to do, just comment on that video and you're in the pile of potential winners for a Remarkable Inns or Remarkable Shops book. But without further ado, because I've seen a lot of comments of people that saying that I talk too much before I actually start a review, I just want to dig into this review. I just need to check really quick that I'm actually recording this. So I don't know how I'm going to set up my camera, how I'm going to set up everything. Could be picture in picture, whatever. I'm just going to talk about this right here. Warriors of Sehanine. Sehanine. I'm just going to say Sehanine because I don't really know how to pronounce it, but whatever. Why do I think the problem with this thing is I rarely see or hear people talk about this one. And I think that's a bummer. I think that's just a missed opportunity because I think it is just such a wonderfully, smartly written adventure that you just need to check out. It is an adventure for parties from level 3 all the way up to level 5. So it's a short adventure. It's like probably 3 to 4 sessions. I don't know. Maybe you can pile it into 2 sessions if you have long sessions. But it is just. It is written by, and that's where I wanted to start, is written by Florian Emmerich and JVC Perry. Of course, I've talked about JVC Perry on my channel a lot. I mean, some of you probably think that I'm married to JVC Perry. That's how much I talk about him. But that's not the case, unfortunately. JVC Perry is one of my favorite writers. He wrote Call from the Deep, which I'm playing right now, and he wrote a bunch of other stuff that I talked about on my channel. I just love his writing style. I love how much effort he puts into PDFs. And then there's Florian Emmerich, who is the person behind Shore of Dreams, together with JVC Perry. And I'm going to be totally honest with you, I've never heard about Ashley Warren. But, Ashley, now I heard about you, I've read this adventure and I really like it, so your name is probably gonna stick in my mind for the next time I see it pop up. So congratulations on this one, it's really good. So Florian is the person behind Shore of Dreams, which, as you might know, is my absolute #1 favorite one-shot adventure. It is short. It has a plot twist, an amazing plot twist. I did a review of it a long time ago on my channel, and it is just well written. There's a lot of great artwork in it, and it just clicks with me. And that's what I do on this channel. I just find stuff that clicks with me and I share it with you, and I tell you if it's worth spending your money on or not. Warriors of Sehanine is worth spending your money on. I can tell you that right now. It is a good PDF. This is an adventure from level 3 all the way up to level 5, so it is a little bit bigger. It's not a one-shot adventure. It's like 3 or 4 sessions, whatever. So the main thing is, right, there is this bunch of elves who are also werewolves. And they live in peace inside a keep very deep in a forest. They live in peace. Most of the time they live in peace. They're also werewolves, and there's like a bunch of them are werewolves, and they protect the forest, and they want to keep the forest alive and everything, and they're really into the nature and everything. So once upon a time, a bunch of orcs comes into the forest and they start chopping away and setting up camp, and the elves slash werewolves get really pissed off at the orcs and they go and kill a bunch of the orcs. They actually raid that village, that camp, and they go kill half of the orcs. The other half manages to escape, whatever. But while doing that, there is this black dragon, and he has the most stupid name that I've ever seen in a black dragon. He's called the Duskbringer. Duskbringer. I love this adventure, but I really hate the name of this black dragon. It sounds more like a monster truck or something like, or a wrestler, Duskbringer. So there is this black dragon, Duskbringer, and he has been eyeing this keep where the elves slash werewolves have been living for a long time. He's been eyeing this for a long time, and he really wants to set up camp, set up his lair in that thing. And when the elves are away to go kill the orcs, this black dragon actually sees its opportunity and attacks the castle. And that's where it all happens. There is this king and queen, like the leaders of the elves, who are called Winter and Autumn, who they fend off this black dragon, and all the elves are fighting this black dragon, but one elf after the other keeps falling and they keep dying. Some elves manage to escape, some elves die, some elves are still fighting, and this black dragon, although it gets really wounded, it actually wins. And up until the last point, Winter and Autumn, who had 2 children, they need to get the heck out of there. But the problem is, they didn't have the opportunity in the chaos of everything. I mean, there's battle, there's probably pieces of rock falling down, and probably half of the keep is destroyed. In the chaos, they don't manage to take their children with them. So now the dragon is living in that lair, in that castle, and the children are somewhere in there. And probably they are hiding, or you know, as players you don't know, and I'm not gonna spoil this adventure. I don't want to spoil it in any way. All you know is that this dragon actually is in the lair, and the children are also. Does the dragon know? You don't know. Are the children hidden inside a closet or sitting on a secret wall or something? You don't know. Probably they are. Wink, wink. Anyway, that's the setup. And although that's an amazing setup for an adventure, it is in some way generic. It's in some way like, hey, oh no, save my children, and then you need to go slay a dragon to save a bunch of children, which is great. But that's not the strong point of this adventure. The strong point of this adventure is the way it's written, the way it's brought to you as just a step-by-step thing by Florian and JVC Perry, and of course Ashley, who did a good job. I have my laptop right here, so I will be scrolling through this thing, and of course I'm screen capping. Where I will put it, I don't know for sure. I'll need to find that out while I go. Also, my computer is very slow, so sometimes pages have to load in because I'm using an old Windows thing for a computer. Now, as you can see, artwork 11 out of 10. There, it's perfect. It's just my kind of artwork. It just sets the tone. It's like this person comforting their children, and you know this person is in grave. They are like, oh no, shit, there's something going on, while they are comforting their children. And it's just something, as a parent myself, I can really see myself if there's something bad outside the door, there's a dragon outside, I see myself comforting my child. And that's just something that gets to me and it sticks with me as a parent. So that really, the artwork right here is just very cool. You can see there's great artwork. But now, what I really want to talk about is and this is the strength of the PDF. So you have, of course, the general stuff, like you have the setup, how people are going to find this adventure. Like, are they in an inn and do these parents run in, or are they on the road and they see dead orcs on the road of a forest and they want to check out what's going on, stuff like that. You got that. You have like the keep. Once your players come up to the keep, or your castle, or whatever you want to call it, it is completely mapped out, it is completely written out, it is completely fleshed out. It is just top quality, done. There's a lot of like mini maps and stuff I will show you. But the thing I really want to talk about is the random encounters, and they should be around page 10 somewhere. So your players will have to go from point A all the way up to point B through a big forest. And as you know, with random encounters, a lot of adventures have random encounters. Like almost all adventures have random encounters. And the thing I like about this one is that a lot of the random encounters are tied into the story itself. And that's where it shines. And I mean, I see a lot of books, I see a lot of PDFs where your players have to go through, say, a desert, and they have to go from point A to point B through a desert, and then there's just a bunch of random encounters, and these random encounters don't really have a story with them. They're just, yeah, there's a sand shark here, and yeah, there's a thing here, and yeah, there's some goblins here, and you just need to beat them, or they attack you, and they want to raid your party, and they want to steal everything. That's all fine, that's all good, and can be very fun. But the way Florian, JVC Perry, and I'm always calling him JVC Perry, I'm going to call him Josh, because his first name is Josh. So Florian and Josh and Ashley actually did something very cool. They tied in a lot of these encounters to the story itself. And I'm going to give you a simple yet powerful example. For example, there is this rolling table with random encounters. We are all familiar with that. We're not going to talk about that, although I just did. The rallying orcs, for example. If you roll a, let's see, the rallying orcs, where are they? If you roll a 10 or an 11 on your random rolling thing, D20 thing, you get the rallying orcs. And these are actually the orcs that your players encounter the orcs that were attacked by the elves way back when this whole story started. So these orcs, in their turn, are completely pissed off at the elves. So your players are going through this forest, and they can really use these rallying orcs. You as a dungeon master can use them to give your players more insight into the story and what actually happened, which is great. And they didn't just put a bunch of orcs in here. Florian, Josh, and Ashley didn't just put a bunch of orcs in there. They're not like, here's 5 orcs, beat them and get experience points and some loot. No, they actually came up with like a sort of settlement. There's like a sort of camp where the orcs are, where half of the orcs are. They actually get a leader. He gets a name. He gets like a personality. There's ways to get in there sneaky. There's ways to get in there by beating the crap out of the orcs. There's ways to talk to the orcs and to find out stuff from the story by visiting this camp. If you just go in there, murder a hobo, there's probably not a lot you're going to find out, but if you try to talk to them, or maybe even get an alliance going with them or something, you can really find out some stuff. That's really great stuff to me personally. I think that's amazing. Then there is the ghostly fox, who doesn't really tie in to the story, but he ties in to the overall world that is this forest. For example, the ghostly fox is it's like the spirit animal. That's the way I see it, the spirit animal of this forest. It's like the leader, it's like the embodiment of this forest, and it walks around and does all kinds of crazy things, but it's a fox, so it's a bit sneaky, it's a little bit scared. So what does this fox do when they encounter it? It steals one important magical item from your players. Now, if your players decide to not chase the fox, because there is this big chase scene, if your players decide not to chase this fox, they lose a magic item. And the next party that defeats this fox, or defeats the dragon, gets this magic item. Because this fox really wants to find people that are capable of defeating the black dragon called Duskbringer. The fox also wants the black dragon gone, because black dragons in forests, nobody likes that. Even the fox doesn't like that. So what does it do? It actually tests this party, and that's just something that's just so great. It tests the party. If the party succeeds in catching the fox, they end up at a pile of stuff the fox already gathered, like a hoard, a mini hoard, and they get their magic item back, of course. But they also get a few magical weapons, like minor things, like a +1 weapon or a +1 shield. So your players find a bunch of low-level magical weapons that can help them in their quests. So this fox really wants to find the correct party. If your party does not succeed, the fox will go search for another party, and then eventually a party will find this pile of stuff, take it, and they will be a lot stronger, and they will be aided into defeating Duskbringer, which ties into the story so well. It does its job. I mean, look at this artwork. Aren't you just completely in love with this fox? I mean, the artwork is my kind of artwork. It's simple, it's effective, it's colorful, it pops out, does its thing. Then there is another thing that ties into the let's say the story, and I want to scroll up for this. There is an encounter where it's called what is called? Can't find it. Spiders, deer, trolls, greetings. There is an encounter. There is a situation where your players can encounter a cottage, Marla's cottage, and this is a sort of hag person that is actually holding one of the kids hostage. Okay, I completely forgot to say spoiler alerts. So if you're a player, get the hell out of here. If you're a dungeon master, keep listening. Marla's cottage it's like Hansel and Gretel type thing, where an old hag is keeping one of the children hostages, but the child is in its wolf form. As you know, they're werewolves, so they're like a puppy, little wolf puppy, and it's being held hostage because this child managed to escape. Your players do not know this child managed to escape. Your players do not know this wolf is that child. Only if they encounter some type of people or somebody that can help them tell that, or they can find there's ways for the party to know that, but there's a wolf being held hostage by a hag, and it's actually that child. And your players can encounter it, or your players cannot encounter it. And that's just something like there's this cottage, and the thing what they do is there's this mini thing going on with this cottage, like what your players can do there. But Florian, Josh, and Ashley decided that it's not enough to make one adventure. No, let's slap another adventure on top of that adventure. At the end of the book, at the end of this PDF, and my computer is very slow, there is this. There is an optional adventure. So if your players come up to Marla's cottage, you can do this simple thing that it says in the random encounter stuff, where your players can get there, they can do some stuff, and they can talk to her, and then they can get out. Or you can have this entire mini adventure within that adventure, and it's completely optional. So if your players encounter Marla's cottage, you can say, there's this cottage, and there's this and this and this, or there's this complete adventure. It's a small adventure, but it will take you one more session to complete this thing probably, and it will get your players some new information about the story, which is, to me, they're like, this adventure standard. The way it was, it just stood very well. It's just a very good adventure. And then they decided to slap another adventure on there, put it at the back of this PDF, and they're like, hey, there's this optional part you can put in the part that's already there, but this part is better and bigger. But if you want to keep moving, then don't use it. But if you want to like do more with the story, then use it. That's completely great, and that's why I love the way this is written. The random encounters are completely tied into the story, like most of them. Of course, there's also the random owlbear and the random whatever, and then there is an adventure that ties in with this adventure. That's like an extra adventure, but also belongs to the main adventure, if you know what I'm talking about. I know this is off the cuff and rambly, but that's the way I do things with PDFs. Just want to talk about it. There's of course, now I'm scrolling up, I see there's like stat blocks for creatures your players encounter. Some children from a dragon. I don't only like it for its artwork, but I especially like it for the way they get the random encounters tied in to the story and how they put an extra mini adventure into the adventure optional, to really tell you like you can do whatever you want with it. It is your story. If you want to change things up, change things up. If you don't, if you want to run it by the book, run it by the book. And that's so great about Warriors of Sehanine. That's the way I'm pronouncing it. And I don't see enough of that, enough of those random encounters tied into the story. And I named 2 of them, and there's more of them. There's like a bunch of random encounters that don't tie into the story, that just set like owlbear and other stuff. But there's a bunch more that tie into the story, and I really like that about it. And I hope you click the link in the description below and check it out for yourself, because it's really worth it, and your players are gonna love you for running it, and they're gonna remember it for a long time, especially if you roleplay the children and the dragon well enough. If you've ever played it, or if you're picking it up, let me know in the comments below. Like this video, and until next time, I hope your inspiration may guide you.